Everyone, welcome back to the another episode. Once he was gone, Taehyung turned to Jungkook, resting a chin on his hand. Taehyung, you really do have a soft side. Maybe Jimin's right. You should write me some poetry. Jungkook's expression softened again as he reached out to brush a strand of hair from Taehyung's face. Jungkook, love you, baby. As the evening settled, the two sat in their small dining area, enjoying a quiet dinner together. Taehyung, always full of energy and curiosity, suddenly looking up at Jungkook with a spark in his eyes. Taehyung, Jungkook, let's go outside for a walk. It's been ages since I have seen the stars properly. Jungkook hesitated for a moment, glancing at the window. The air outside looked brisk. Still, he couldn't bring himself to say no to Taehyung when he looked so excited. Jungkook, alright, but wear something warm, it's cold outside. Taehyung grinning, quickly pulling out on a cozy hoodie he had packed while Jungkook grabbed his jacket. Together they stepped out into the night air. They walked slowly along the quiet dirt path. Taehyung, wow, look at that. Jungkook, you don't see stars like this in the city. Jungkook ever kept his eyes scanning their surroundings, but he couldn't ignore the way Taehyung's happiness seems to light up the darkness around them. The chill in the air grew sharper, and Jungkook noticed Taehyung shiver slightly even in his hoodie. Without a word, he pulled Taehyung closer, wrapping his strong arm around him and tucked Taehyung behind his chest. Jungkook, you will freeze if you don't stay close. Taehyung looked up at Jungkook, his face properly hidden in the folds of Jungkook's jacket. Taehyung, you are always so protective, he mumbled, his voice soft with affection. Jungkook tightening his hold, his warmth eloping Taehyung completely. Jungkook, of course I am. You are everything to me now. Taehyung smiled, resting his head against Jungkook's chest as they continued their walk. The sound of the Jungkook's steady heartbeat and the warmth of the embrace made them feel safer than ever. Taehyung, do you think we can have this kind of peace forever? Just you and me. Jungkook looked down at him, his expression softening. Jungkook, I will do everything I can to make sure of it, no matter what happens. The sincerity in his voice brought a lump to Taehyung's throat, and he hugged Jungkook tighter. Taehyung, I believe you, and I will always stay by your side, no matter what. They walk in silence. After that, Taehyung and Jungkook lie together, wrapped in each other's arms. Meanwhile, Taehyung's father, furious and humiliated by his son's disappearance, had not been idle. His rage had no boundaries, and he had made it his mission to track Taehyung down no matter what it took. The guards he had sent to the city were now securing every corner, every street, every hidden nook for any ghost. The officers were everywhere in the city. Whispers spread across the disappearance of the young heir and the bodyguard who had vanished alongside him. Taehyung's father had spared no expense, using his influence to deploy every resource available to find them. He ordered his guards to question anyone who might have seen something, to turn every stone and search every possibility, no matter how small. Back at the village, Jungkook was unaware of the growing danger. He had tucked Taehyung under the cover and fallen into a light sleep, his arms around him protectively. Taehyung too felt safe, and his head resting on Jungkook's chest as he drifted into a peaceful sleep. However, as the hours passed, something tugged at Jungkook's subconscious. Like a nagging feeling he couldn't shake. He didn't know what it was. Jungkook's thoughts were interrupted by Taehyung shifting in his sleep, mumbling something. But Jungkook couldn't ignore the nagging sense that something was off. He knew Taehyung's father was not the kind of man to let go his son so easily. He was ruthless, dangerous, and Jungkook had seen firsthand how far Taehyung's father would go to maintain control. Jungkook gently stroked Taehyung's hair, trying to calm his racing thoughts. He couldn't shake their fear, and they were running out of time. They hadn't completely escaped yet, not as long as Taehyung's father was hunting them. The door to their little house cracked open, and Jungkook stiffened at the sound. His hand instinctively reached for the small knife he had hidden in the drawer beside him, but it was only Jimin, looking worried as he stepped inside. Jimin, Jungkook, I heard some things from the other villagers. I don't know how to tell you this. There are rumors people have been asking about you and Taehyung. They are looking for you too. Jungkook's heart dropped. Jungkook, I knew it. Taehyung stood beside him, his eyes flickering open at the sound of their voices. He sat up, confusion clouding his expression. Taehyung, who is looking for us? Jungkook's face hardened as he looked down at Taehyung, his hand resting protectively on his arm. Jungkook, your father, Taehyung, he has sent guards everywhere to find us. They wouldn't stop until they do. Taehyung's expression fluttered. He shook his head. Jimin, the officers are getting closer. You need to leave. Jungkook, you both need to be careful. Jungkook turned to Taehyung. Jungkook, we can't stay here. If they find us, it wouldn't be me they will hurt. Taehyung, it will be both of us. Taehyung gripped Jungkook's hand tightly, his heart pounding in his chest. The thought of losing Jungkook, the one person who had shown him love in a world full of control and manipulation, was unbearable. Taehyung, we will run again if we have to. I'm not going back to him. Jungkook nodded. Jungkook, I wouldn't let that happen, not while I'm here. He stood up, helping Taehyung to his feet. They had no time to waste. The next step was clear. They had to disappear again. Jungkook, get ready. We leave in 5 minutes. Taehyung nodded, looked at him, his gaze filled with quiet trust. Taehyung, I am with you. Jungkook, they shared one last look before heading out, their hearts heavy. Jungkook and Taehyung quickly grabbed their things. The urgency of the situation was clear. Every second mattered. Jungkook silently moved around the house, gathered a few essentials, a bag of clothes, some money, and the small personal items he knew they would need to survive. Taehyung watched him, his heart heavy. Taehyung, do you think they will find us? Jungkook paused for a moment, looked at Taehyung with a protective gaze. He didn't want to give false hope, but he also didn't want to crush Taehyung's spirit. Jungkook, I don't know, but we will keep moving. We will be careful. As long as we are together, we can figure it out. Taehyung nodded. He had no intention of going back, not now that he had tasted freedom. He couldn't go back to that life. Once they were ready, Jungkook grabbed this bag and headed for the door to follow him. Jungkook, stay close and don't say a word. We are going to get out of here without anyone noticing. The village was quiet as they stepped outside the stairs. Streets still dark in the early morning light. They moved swiftly. Jungkook always a few steps ahead, keeping his eyes darting around for any sign of danger, but just as they turned a corner, Jungkook spotted something that made his blood run cold. Figures in the distance moving towards the village. They were too far to make out clearly, but the shadows, the way they moved, told him everything he needed to know. Jungkook, they are here. We have to go now, Taehyung says in panic, but he stayed close, gripping Jungkook's arm tightly as they quickly kick in their face. Jungkook, stay calm, Taehyung. I have trained for moments like this. We will be fine. The village was small and Jungkook knew the paths through it well. He led Taehyung down a narrow alley away from the main road where they could avoid the guards who were likely searching the area. As they moved deeper into the village, Jungkook's heart raced. He didn't have a plan. He didn't know where they would go or what they would do next, but he was determined to protect Taehyung no matter what the cost. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoes from them. Jungkook froze, listening carefully. They were closing in fast. Jungkook ran. Without hesitation, Taehyung followed Jungkook, their footsteps pounding against the dirt path. Jungkook's mind raced as he led Taehyung towards the edge of the village where the dense woods began. Jungkook, keep up with me, Taehyung. Don't stop. Stay focused. The woods were thick and dark, the trees towering above them. They moved quickly through the underbrush, and the sound of their growing faint behind them, but Jungkook knew they couldn't slow down. Even every second contained as they ran. Taehyung gasped for breath, his body exhausted, but Jungkook kept a steady pace, refusing to stop. Taehyung's safety was all that mattered. Eventually, after what felt like hours, they reached a small clearing in the woods. Their breath heavy in the cold air. Jungkook finally slowed to stop from turning to face Taehyung. Jungkook, we should rest here for a moment, but we can't stay long. Taehyung collapsed onto a nearby rock, breathing heavily. Taehyung, you are amazing. Jungkook, I don't know what I would do without you. Jungkook gaze softened, his heart racing at the sight of Taehyung's exhaustion. He walked over and knelt down beside him, offering a comforting hand. Jungkook, you don't have to worry about that. I will never leave you. Not now, not ever. Taehyung's eyes filled with gratitude as he looked at Jungkook. He reached out, taking Jungkook's hand in his. Taehyung, I'm sorry for dragging you in this. I know it's dangerous. Jungkook shook his head, gently squeezing Taehyung's hand. Jungkook, you don't drag me into anything, Taehyung. I choose this, I choose you, and I will protect you no matter what the cost. They stayed in the silence for a while. Taehyung's father wasn't going to stop. Jungkook knew that the night wore now. They continued their journey, leaving the village behind. Jungkook's mind remained focused on the road ahead, on the future they were craving together. As the hours passed, Jungkook and Taehyung kept running, not daring to stop for too long. They were already far from the village. Jungkook turned to Taehyung, noticing how tired he looked, his breath heavy from the constant running. Jungkook, do you need a break? Taehyung, we can stop for a while. Taehyung shook his head quickly. Taehyung, no, I'm fine. I can keep going. Jungkook gave him a small worried look but didn't press. He knew Taehyung wasn't one to ask for help even when he needed it. Instead, Jungkook tried to focus on the road ahead, leading Taehyung through the unfamiliar path in the woods. A few minutes later, Jungkook slowed his pace, glancing over his shoulder. Jungkook, do you want me to carry you for a while? Taehyung stopped for a second, catching his breath. He shook his head more forcefully this time. Taehyung, no, Jungkook, I'm not a child. I can keep up. Jungkook sighed softly but nodded, not pushing the issue. He didn't want to be upset Taehyung, especially when he knew Taehyung was trying so hard to be strong. They continued running, the sound of their footsteps crunching in the underbrush as they pressed on through the dark woods. Jungkook kept his eyes sharp, constantly scanning the surroundings. He didn't know how much longer they could keep running. As they reached a small clearing, Jungkook could feel Taehyung's breath becoming more labored. He couldn't ignore it anymore. Jungkook, Taehyung, seriously, we need to rest. You're pushing. Jungkook led him to the nearby tree, helping Taehyung sit down on the large rock. Taehyung leaned forward, resting his elbow on his knees, catching his breath. Jungkook sat beside him, watching him closely. Jungkook, you don't have to pretend to be strong all the time. Taehyung, I'm here. You can lean on me when you need to. Taehyung looked at him for a moment, his eyes softening. Taehyung, I know. I hate feeling like a burden. Jungkook reached over, gently placing a hand over Taehyung's shoulder. Jungkook, you are not a burden, you are everything to me. Taehyung smiled back, but Jungkook could see the weight in his eyes. They couldn't afford to stop for long, and the threat of Taehyung's father's man loomed over them. But in the moment with Taehyung beside him, Jungkook allowed himself to believe that they had a chance. Taehyung, okay, let's go. We can't stop now. Jungkook nodded, standing up from first and offering his hand to Taehyung. Taehyung took it and they set off again. This time the church was quiet. Taehyung and Jungkook slept inside. The air inside smelled of old and dust. The dim light from a few candles. Taehyung collapsed onto the floor. His body exhausted, and Jungkook quickly followed, his eyes darting around as he made sure no one had followed them. They had been running for hours, and the fear of being catched never seems to leave them. There was no need for words at the moment. They were both so tired physically, emotionally, that they all could do was find comfort in each other's presence. Jungkook gently stroked Taehyung's hair, his thoughts swinging. He knew Taehyung was scared, and he knew that Taehyung's father was still out there, searching for them. But in this small, quiet church, Jungkook allowed himself a moment to simply be with Taehyung, to feel the warmth of his body pressed close. It was a rare moment. Taehyung's voice broke the silence as he looked up at Jungkook. Taehyung, Jungkook, what if they find us? Jungkook, we will be okay, I promise. But don't let them take you. Taehyung closed his eyes, clenching to Jungkook, his fingers tightening on Jungkook's shirt. Jungkook could feel Taehyung's heart racing. We'll figure this out. We will find a way out of this, baby. Taehyung nodded, but Jungkook could tell that he was still struggling with fear and with unknown. Jungkook couldn't blame him. They were both scared, but all could Jungkook do was be there for him, offer whatever comfort he could. And the night stretched on, and the two of them stayed in that quiet corner of their church. Taehyung's breath eventually became more steady. Taehyung needed him. Jungkook, do you want me to go out and find us something to eat? I will be quick. Taehyung grip on him tightening, and he shook his head quickly, eyes wide. Taehyung, no. Jungkook, I'm fine, please. Stay with me. Jungkook nodded, understanding. He pulled Taehyung closer, leaning his back against the cold stone wall. Not caring about his own discomfort. The only thing that mattered was Taehyung and keeping him safe. Jungkook whispered softly, his eyes calm and steady despite the fear. Jungkook, don't worry, we are in this together, okay? I wouldn't let anything happen to you. Taehyung's eyes fluttered shut and Jungkook could feel him slowly relaxing in his arms. Jungkook held him as the hours passed, but both of them lost in their thoughts. Jungkook and Taehyung couldn't afford to stay in one place for long. They couldn't risk being catched. After walking for hours, they finally reached a small dirt road where a large truck was parked. Its engine the driver looked up, his eyes scanning the two of them. They were disbehaved, exhausted, and clearly out of the place. But they didn't hesitate. Jungkook stepping forward first and hand gripping Taehyung's firmly. He approached the driver, speaking in a calm but tone. Jungkook, please, we need to get out of here. Can you give us a ride anywhere you are heading? The driver, an older man with a face, glancing at them for a longer moment. Jungkook could see him waiting the decision. Driver, hop on, but stay low. Don't want to draw attention. Without another word, Jungkook and Taehyung climbed onto the back of the truck, taking a seat on the cold metal floor on the truck. Plunged forward, they sat closer together. Taehyung once again crawled onto Jungkook's side, seeking warmth and reassurance. The truck was bumpy, and Jungkook kept his eyes on the road ahead, constantly aware of their surroundings. Taehyung stayed silent for most of the ride, his eyes scanning the distant landscape. The mountain area they were traveling towards looked peaceful from a distance, but Jungkook knew it could be dangerous. He had no idea what they would face when they arrived, but right now it was the only option they had. As they moved further into the mountain, the air grew cooler, the trees thicker, and the road winding more. Jungkook couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt. He wanted to protect them, but every step of the journey felt like more risk. He was dragging them further from safety, but Taehyung's presence beside him, his hand resting on Jungkook's thigh, kept him grounded. Taehyung, where are we going? Jungkook turned his head, looked at him, offering a small reassurance smile. Jungkook, wherever we need to go to be safe, we just have to keep moving. After some time, the truck began to slow as it reached the outskirts of the mountain, and the driver stopped immediately. The man looked back at them. Driver, here is where I drop you off. It's a small town, but you should be able to find something to rest. Jungkook and Taehyung nodded in gratitude, thankful that the man had helped them so much without asking too many questions. They quickly hopped off the back of the truck, and they did. As they did, Jungkook's heart raced with the reality that they had just entered a place where they could lie low, even if just. As the truck drove off, Taehyung looked around, his eyes wide with uncertainty. It was a small, quiet town nested between the mountains, with only a few buildings dotted in the landscape. This place, it looks so different. I have never seen anywhere like it. Jungkook smiled softly, trying to mask his own uneasy. Jungkook, it's different, yeah, but it's safe for now. We will figure out what to do next. They walked down the cottage to Jungkook's mind raced with thoughts of their next move. They needed a place to stay, food, maybe even a way to get out of this town without being spotted. Jungkook, we should find a place to hide for the night somewhere nobody knows. Taehyung nodded again, but Jungkook could see the exhaust and worry in his eyes. Taehyung had been through so much, and Jungkook would do anything to keep him safe. They made their way towards a small everyone. What do you think about it? Which Taehyung and Jungkook gonna be safe? What is Mr. Kim gonna do? Is he gonna find them? We will get to know all this in further episodes. Hope you will enjoy it. See you again. Bye bye. Love you. Bye.